Hi everyone, Crafty Lori here, and for today's project, Growing in Unity project, I am going to show you how to make this faceplate. And this is day 4 and project 4 of my Growing in Unity projects. This is a napkin, it's a polka dot napkin, and I only need one square of this, but I want to make sure that I only get one layer. So I'm going to cut the square that I need. I'm going to cut that out. Because sometimes these napkins are 2 to 4 layers thick. So I don't need that part. I just need one layer. And I'm going to separate it here. Find an edge. So I only want one layer. So I'm going to separate the layers. I just pull off the back carefully. And I have my stamping tool. So I want this to fit the stamping tool, so I'm going to cut just a little bit more off. And I'm going to cut it off on this decorative edge here. Because I don't need, it's got some bumpies on it that I don't need. Alright. Then the napkin, I'm going to make sure I adhere it down well with magnets. And the stamp I'm using is from this kit. And it's called Beautiful is Never Perfect. I chose this one because it's a pretty large stamp. So that's the one I'm going to use. Haven't even used it yet. This is the first time I'm using it. So I want that right in the middle. And I'm going to be using Stays On ink because I will be using Mod Podge. And Mod Podge is water-based, so you do not want a water-based ink. So this is Stays On, and it's a nice maroon type color. Getting there. That's what I like about stamping tools, is you can stamp as many times as you want in the exact same place. There we go. Perfect. That's just the way I want it. Now I'm going to make sure I let that dry well. Usually I just let mine sit for a couple hours. You have to remove the back layers from the napkin, and this one had 2 layers. 1 and 2. And the first layer was easier to take off. The second layer took some work, but I got it off. And when I Mod Podge this on, you can see through it because it's a light pink. But you can also feel, because I want to make sure, because if I have this too low, the light switch will cover up the flower, the clicker. So I want to make sure I'm going to put it about there. So I'm not going to Mod Podge the whole faceplate. I'm just going to start at the top. And I'm going to put a generous amount. And then I'm going to layer this on there where I want it. I'm going to press it down. Now this is very, very thin, so you have to be careful. So I'm not going to futz with it too much. I just put it on there, and then I will layer this up, or lift that up. And this is Mod Podge just from Dollar Tree. And then for the next section, I just make sure that I butted up the glue up against where I folded it up. And then down. Not too much at a time, because I'm trying to minimize the wrinkles. I may get a few wrinkles, but that's okay. And I'm not rubbing it because this is really thin, so I'm pressing it. And then I'm going to flip it up again. Oh, wrinkle. If I see a wrinkle, I try to get it out right away. Because once you get a wrinkle, it's there to stay. And again, I'm not rubbing it, I'm pressing it. And I'm making sure that my hands aren't sticky when I do this. Then I'm going to flip it up. And now to do the sides, the edges. I'm going to cut around the edge. I'm going to leave a little bit of an edge. And then I'll just go around the edges. And I flip it down. I do the top edge first. And then for the middle, I'm going to put Mod Podge on it to get it kind of wet. And then I have my pokey tool, and I'm just going to break through it, and then I'm going to roll it to the back. And then I'm going to do the same. For the screw holes, I'm just going to feel where they are, and I'm just going to poke through them. I'm just going to make sure the paper is not sticking up. And for the back, I can just Mod Podge it just a little bit. I don't have to go crazy because you're not going to see this part. Now, before I add a layer of Mod Podge, I am going to make sure that this is completely dry. I am not going to attempt to Mod Podge it when it's wet because it will rip. So I'm just going to let it dry for a little bit. And then I'll go over it with a layer of Mod Podge. And now that it's completely dry, I am going to add more Mod Podge on the top. And I washed off my brush so there was no hard crusties on there. And I'm going to put a good layer. I'm not going to go over it too many times. Because I'll risk the chance of ripping it. And now I'm going to let that completely dry. And I shouldn't need more than one coat. But after it dries, I'll probably flip it over and I'll do the back a little bit. But I don't want to flip it over right now because I'll get my fingerprints in this top coat of Mod Podge. So I'm going to let that completely dry. After the Mod Podge was completely dry, I did top coat it with this Rust-Oleum chalked matte clear top coat, just so it'd be a little bit more durable, so I could wipe it down and stuff if it got dirty. But that is my faceplate, and I'll insert a picture here of what it looks like on my wall. And Unity Stamps is giving away some great prizes, so in order to be entered to win, you need to comment down below. And I will also put the Facebook group, the Unity Show and Tell Facebook group, in the description box, and you can also comment on my video in that Facebook group. And this is day 4 of my 5 days of projects for growing in Unity. So if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching. Bye!